The self-control is a man's ability to look at the reality with a clear mind. That's what we're supposed to do, and that's what it means to be sober-minded, is as things come in, as we are influenced by things, we should be thinking about them with a sober and a clear mind. What we're looking at in 1 Thessalonians is a portion of the letter that Paul wrote in regards to Christ's return. Paul was talking about those that are unprepared, those that are going to be surprised by sudden destruction. Those are the ones that he describes of that are walking or living in the night or in the darkness. These people are asleep. And then the ones that are prepared, these are not going to be surprised by the coming of the Lord. They're not in darkness, but yet they're children of light. These ones that are prepared will be awake. They will be alert and will be on guard, and they will also be sober. We're going to look at drunk, what that means in this context, and also what it means to be sober. In this passage, Paul is using the idea of being drunk as a metaphor. This points to a person living and making decisions by experience and feeling more than understanding and knowledge. This is a person that is not self-controlled. They're drunk in a spiritual sense. They do not think rationally, rather than they act on their feelings and on their senses only. So we're called to be sober-minded, or being sober. We see this in verse 6. It says, "So then, let us not be like others who are asleep, but let us be awake and sober." As you can guess, the word sober means much of the opposite of being drunk. Sober means to be filled with spiritual and moral earnestness, being neither overexcited on one hand nor indifferent on the other, but calm, steady, and sane. In this passage, Paul describes a life of disciplined self-control in contrast to the reckless irresponsibility of self-indulgence or religious ecstasy. The self-control is a man's ability to look at the reality with a clear mind. That's what we're supposed to do, and that's what it means to be sober-minded, is as things come in, as we are influenced by things, we should be thinking about them with a sober and a clear mind. The Lord says that there will be delusions of their own minds, some things that they conjured up in their own minds. One of the reasons for this delusions of the mind is that Christians have mixed the plan and purpose of God given to us by His Word with the promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that this country has experienced for over 200 years. Somehow, God's plan of salvation and purpose of gathering His people to Himself for His glory and for our joy has been thrown into the blender with the American dream, with the American ideology, and with American prosperity. They are all mixed together, and what comes out is this idea or dream or prophecy that God is going to restore this country back to the pinnacle of its prosperity and power. That is not true. Those things are not important to Him. You know what is important to Him? Is that everyone would turn from the sin and place their faith in His Son for the salvation of their souls. Set your hope fully, all of it, on salvation. So as I'm going to try to summarize all that we've discussed and how it is that we can get ready for Christ's return, I think there's three things that we can walk away with and remember. The first is that we're called to live a life that reflects the light of Jesus. The second is we're called to live alert and aware of Christ's return. Stay awake to what's going on in the world around you and pray for strength and wisdom because we need it. Pray for each other as well, that no one will fall away. And the last is we're called to be sober-minded while we wait, spiritually balanced and focused on Jesus, not distracted by the false prophecies or conspiracies or anything else that's going on in this world, but to be focused, standing firm in Jesus.